What's up, everybody? This is TeknoBlast on Techno's Gaming. How's everybody out there today? And have a happy Christmas and Thanksgiving that's coming up very soon. Time is going by pretty fast, and before you know it, it's going to be New Year's, and it's going to be 2023. And 2023 is bringing tons of games, so I'm getting excited about that. But today, while I was in bed, kind of scrolling through some articles. This I just saw today, and I can't believe this is not getting any traction because this was put out around 4 days ago or so. Obviously, everybody loves their PlayStations and their Xboxes and their Switch and computers and whatever you play on, whether it's mobile, console, PC, it doesn't matter. You love enjoying games, don't matter the platform you're on. However, I'm surprised that this article that came out 4 days ago didn't get any traction, and the reason why it doesn't get any traction is because it's a negative PlayStation article, and of course all the media always jumps on the hype train of the PlayStation 5 and its games and never does anything that's a negative light. Every article that I've read out there, it's always praising the PlayStation. It's always licking the PlayStation's nuts every single time an article comes out, and they think it's the most perfect console ever made. So I'm here to bring this to light. It's an article on Tech Radar, and Tech Radar is not like an unknown website. It's a known website. And here's the headline: there's never been a worse time to buy a PlayStation 5, which is true. You can't argue against this. And here we go. As much as I've been enjoying the PlayStation 5 since its 2020 launch, I have to say that I think the future is looking pretty bleak for Sony's flagship console. It's hard to deny the PlayStation 5 has blazed a trail throughout the current console generation. It's housed some of the favorite games this decade, including Returnal, Astro's Playroom, and Demon's Souls. Okay, this is a negative article for PlayStation, but he still wants to lick their nuts by saying, oh, Returnal was a success. It wasn't a success. Astro's Playroom, it was included in every console, so it's a free demo pretty much. So that's not like, let's stop, okay? Demon's Souls, it's a remake. He tells you right there, please stop. These are not groundbreaking games. But in the wake of PlayStation 5's unfortunate price hike, my enthusiasm for the console's future has waned. Between overpriced upcoming peripherals like the PSVR 2 and DualSense Edge to severely undercooked services in PS Plus and PlayStation Stars, Sony continues to fumble the bag with every announcement, at least for me, and with recent news that Sony's continuing its foray into NFTs and unable to fathom the slightest bit of excitement for the PlayStation 5. It's overpriced. You cannot argue against it. It is overpriced. The PlayStation 5 is overpriced by $50, and they're making you think you got a deal because they include a game at $20 less than the game itself by itself. So the consoles right now are bundled, and that's what they're pushing right now. They're pushing a bundled console with a game for $549.99. Now, if you bought the game separately, it'll be $70. So you're saving $20. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, the game is first party, so it's not really costing anything to Sony to include a game, but they're trying to be sneaky, add an extra $49 or an extra $50, but add a game just to make it look like, oh, you're getting a fantastic deal. You're not getting a fantastic deal. So stop believing that you are. It is not. And nowadays, those games that are being bundled, such as Horizon and the Forbidden West, you could get that for like $20-something these days. So you're actually getting ripped off. Now, the PSVR 2, that is a massive ripoff to the Sony fan base. Huge ripoff. The PSVR 2 is $549.99. It is as much as the console itself. This is an accessory. This is not a console that can stand alone. This is not the Oculus Quest that can play on its own. That's not tethered to a system. Right? It is not. The PSVR 2, if you get it by yourself, it's pretty much useless. It's a piece of crap peripheral if you buy it by itself. And a lot of people will not know this. The casual people won't know this. Okay. They think, oh, it's a PlayStation headset. Oh, I could play games with it. When they get home and try to turn it on or do whatever they need to do with it, then they realize they need the PlayStation console itself. So now you're talking about over $1,000 to get a PlayStation and a PSVR 2 experience. And that's it's another ripoff. And Sony fan, the hardcore are just eating this up and just buying into it. And I don't get it. You're better off getting the current Oculus that's out right now, the Quest or whatever it's called, at the price that they have it now. Even though they rose their prices, it'll be much cheaper getting that option instead of PSVR 2, because the Quest or the Meta headset, whatever it's called, it can stand alone. It could play its own games without being tethered to a PC. In the DualSense Edge, okay, so they needed their own kind of Xbox Elite controller to rival against, or they needed their own version of the Elite controller, which is great. Okay, I'm not against that. I would like one, but at the price that you're asking for, was it like $200 or so, or a little bit more? That is insane. I am not going to pay that much for a controller. Now, I may be hypocritical here because I got tons of controllers, Xbox controllers. I got my Elite Halo controller, which cost me a pretty penny, and I got a couple of the first generation Elite controllers, but they were not $200. That's the difference. They were not going over $200. And now we got the core Elite controller at $130, and right now some of it you can buy that for $99. They're giving options to be affordable on the Xbox side, but they completely ripping you off on the PlayStation side. And they're trying to be the Apple of gaming. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to come out. That's why they come out with these white controllers, these white consoles, make it look like the Apple. And they're not. They're far from it. And I thought Apple products were a ripoff. This is a ripoff. At least you get better use out of your Apple products than you do these PlayStation products. Sure, 2023 looking bright if you're in it for the games. Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, and Silent Hill Remake headlines a strong exclusive, and I'm sure Sony's ultra-talented first-party studios have more up their sleeves. But for anyone yet to buy a PlayStation 5, buy into the PlayStation 5 ecosystem, astronomically high prices for both hardware and software, which is true, make it tougher sell ever before. Across the board, $70 for a game is insane. $60 even for me, that I've been blessed to be able to afford this, is too much for me. I've quit buying games at full price. There's very select few that I will buy a game at full price, but it's been over a year since I've purchased a game at full price. I just refuse to. The content entertainment that I will get out of a $70 game, I can get the same thing out of $25 game, out of the same game at $25. If you're smart with your money and you have a little bit of patience, you can experience that $70 game a few months down the line at a discounted price. That's a smart thing to do, not pay these insane. And this goes for Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo games, because Nintendo games never go down. It's insane how they can keep their prices high and nobody bats an eye. Let's start with the console itself. Since the price increased earlier this year, the PS5 retails at $499. No change in the US then, but it's been pushed slightly more out of reach for plenty of potential buyers the world over. Now, the PlayStation Digital is at $399, but only if you're willing to forego this. So the digital, of course, if you're willing to give up the disc and just go full digital, that's the route you want to go, probably at $399. As with any console, the investment doesn't stop there. First and third party games on PS5 typically cost $70. That means that many of the best PS5 games like God of War Ragnarok, Forbidden West could be out of reach for some buyers on a stricter budget, at least outside of sales events like Black Friday. True, you buy somebody a $549 console, then you got to tack on maybe one or two games. That's an extra $140. You kidding me? That's another $140. It's expensive. Yes, I get that. I've been in the gaming hobby since the Atari days. I know how much these games cost. I know how much they've gone up. But that's insane if somebody's expecting to give or trying to buy a gift, such as a parent, and they have their PlayStation 5, but my God, you can't afford anything else because the games itself are $70 each. Granted, the high cost of games isn't exclusive to PS5, which I've said this is going across the board with Xbox as well. The DualSense will launch at $199.99. Now, obviously, the Edge isn't required to fully enjoy a PS5, but the point is that the pad looks to have marginal improvements over the base DualSense, namely a couple of back paddle buttons and customizable profiles. So for $199, you're getting a couple of buttons and paddles in the back, and you can customize your profile. That's not worth $199. It's just not. Now you're going to tell me, oh, because of the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. That's minor. I was just playing Ratchet and Clank, and after a while, it just, I don't know, it doesn't impress. Now, here we go. That also goes for the PSVR 2, which looks to be an even worse offender, okay? At $549.99. It costs even more than the PlayStation itself, regardless of the headset's quality. That's a bad look no matter how you slice it. You can't convince me that the PlayStation or the VR headset, it is a good buy. It's a good value. You cannot convince me. It is awful. You're better off getting the Quest. Again, PSVR won't make or break your PS5 experience, but its high cost as well as other peripheral games does set the precedent that it's an exclusionary console. Its best and value products only available to those with enough disposable income who are willing to track PS5 resale. It's insane. It's crazy they're going to charge this much, and it's not worth that much. Again, you have to have the PlayStation 5 to play the VR headset. That's a ripoff. That's a complete ripoff. Then they go into the PS Minus, which is the PS Plus service, which is no match to what Xbox. I'm not trying to make this into an Xbox versus PlayStation, but compared to two, PlayStation is awful. Now, we need to give it some time a little bit, I guess, to let it mature, give it a year or two to see where it stands, because that's how Game Pass was as well. Game Pass was terrible at the beginning. I tried it for like $1, and then I quit for a few months until something real and enticing came out on Game Pass, and I've been having it since. You just, it's like you have to have it now with all the games that they're offering in Game Pass. You have to have it. But now with PS Plus trying to compete with Game Pass, it's an awful offering. It's a trash offering. I will try it at least for 1 month, but from what I've been reading, I don't need to try it. A lot of people here will probably watch this segment of this video and say, oh, how can you talk crap about a service you haven't played? Dude, I don't have to. I could just read all the stuff that I'm reading here, look at the offerings that they're having, and I can say already, it's like, I don't want this crap. So that's pretty much it. That's the end of the article there. And I'm surprised no more people are not talking about this. It's surprising because everybody's always on the hype train of PlayStation 5. Look how good it's about this. Look at the games and this and that. Oh no, it got nominated for being nominated for a Game of the Year does nothing for me. Right? That will not convince me and say, you know what? Yep. PlayStation got a lot of games nominated. I guess I'm going on that side of the console because, well, they got nominated and Xbox didn't. No. Those nominations and those award shows does nothing for me. It does not make me decide which way I'm going to go when I decide to purchase a console. It is a ripoff. More people need to be talking about this and make people aware that they're trying to be the Apple of gaming. They're trying to rip you off with these just ridiculous prices and not listen to the hardcore fanboys and try to, being convinced that like, oh yeah, that's a great buy. It's not a great buy. It's not a great value. Has no value whatsoever. And I'll tell you right now, everybody knows that I'm an Xbox guy. I am Xbox through and through, and I enjoy it. I haven't turned on my PlayStation 5 since September. Yesterday was the first time I turned it on and started playing more of the Ratchet and Clank because I want to get that over with and trade it in. That's the only game I have right now. All the other ones, I played it when I had the PlayStation 4, and now I'm kind of caught up with their masterpiece exclusives, right? I'm caught up with them. Now I'm going to get Ragnarok later down the line. I'm not going to pay $70 right now. I'm not going to pay for it. I'd rather finish Ratchet & Clank first, wait for a major price drop on Ragnarok, and then trade my game in and hopefully get it around $20, $25. Because $70, it's a ripoff. I'm not going to pay that much. But that's all I had today. Hopefully more people will pick up on this article because it's a great article. I put it down in the description, and that's it, guys. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give that thumbs up. Consider subscribing, and if you enjoy my content, and hit that little bell as well. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.